Happy Friday! Welcome to the world of Avatar.
It is wonderful. I love it.
Anyone love Avatar?
I love Avatar. I like it a lot. There's some good things. You can preach it.
I don't know. The movie's kind of poo, but I like the colors and the lights and all the bright things. As you can tell by my very bland attire today.
There's good things in the movie that you can bring out.
Oh my gosh! But you could preach any movie.
I could.
Let's be fair.
There's the pause. Yep, could do it. So I just like
you see somebody go down the road on a bicycle. You're like, I could preach that.
I could preach it right now.
They just went by on a bicycle.
I know. I could preach the whole thing.
I could preach it.
Yep.
The sun came up. I could preach it.
Okay, today, in fairness, this morning the sun came up. It was fabulous.
Mm-hmm. See? So really, how is Avatar special?
It's like blue. Today it was like blue and pink cotton candy all over it. It's great. You could preach cotton candy all day long.
Yeah.
That's not what we're doing on Friday nights.
No. Guys, look at these great little book stands we got. We're very official now.
We are?
Or really, we're just old and we can't see our Bibles anymore.
Change has come.
And you don't even know it, but we don't have a green screen anymore. We have
right.
green walls behind us.
So you definitely want to come down to the center and check out some of the changes.
Yeah.
We're ready to go.
Super. So, Mark 1, we finished 28, talked about the demons. That was a fun video.
It was.
Super fun.
It was.
Yeah.
Today's going to be better.
Yeah. You know what was more fun, though? Mm-hmm. The video we did before that. Let's see if we could top it.
Okay, let's do it.
See if we could be excited about healing Peter's mother-in-law.
I think we can get there.
All right, I'm going to read. I'm going to read a couple verses. You want me to read all of them?
I want you to read as many as you tell.
Okay. Mark 1:29.
Yep.
And forthwith, when they were come out of the synagogue, they entered into the house of Simon and Andrew with James and John. But Simon's wife's mother lay sick of a fever, and anon they tell him of her. And he came and took her by the hand and lifted her up. And immediately the fever left her, and she ministered unto them. And at even, when the sun did set, they brought unto him all that were diseased, and them that were possessed with devils. And all the city was gathered together at the door. And he healed many that were sick of diverse diseases, and cast out many devils, and suffered not the devils to speak, because they knew him.
Oh,
More demons!
Can I do controversy first?
Ooh, yes.
This is great. Jesus always just being Jesus, right? I love it because it says, and immediately he left the synagogue, right? Because it's the Sabbath.
Did it outside of church?
But he left. It's on the Sabbath day, right? Because he's in the synagogue, right? He entered the house of Simon and Andrew, right? And the mother-in-law is laying there sick. Now, we could talk about letting mother-in-laws lay there sick. Like, why didn't he do Peter a favor and leave her, like, sick, that kind of stuff. But he didn't. He healed her.
Why didn't he make Peter do it?
Right? That's a great question, too. We could talk about that. But what I want to talk about is he healed her on the Sabbath, lifted her up, and she began to serve them. Right? All this work was happening on the Sabbath. And then notice the very next verse, that evening at sundown. Why is that important? Because the Sabbath is over. So now you can work on the Sabbath, and that's when they brought all the sick. They didn't bring them on the Sabbath. They didn't bring them to him at the synagogue. They brought these people to him after. So my question, why did Jesus work on the Sabbath?
It's just an underground operation.
Right. Why did he heal Peter's mother-in-law so she could get up and serve them on the Sabbath? She worked on the Sabbath. But all the rest of the people had to wait till the sundown in order to be healed.
They brought. Who brought? The disciples brought?
The people of the town brought them.
They brought. It just says the sun did set, and they brought unto him all that were diseased, and them that were possessed with devils.
Yep.
I don't know. It makes me think like he's like, well, it doesn't matter if it's the Sabbath or not. We're going to do this stuff anyway, but we're going to do it privately. We don't need to make this a spectacle.
So there we go. Privately, purposefully, right? And we don't need a spectacle of this. So much of what Jesus did, he did in moments that were not super public in nature, right? That he just did what he was asked to do. He did what needed to be done in that moment. But the public stuff came after the Sabbath. It's funny to me. I'm looking at it and it just catches my attention because you already healed somebody on the Sabbath. You already had her working for you on the Sabbath. But then everybody else waits until appropriately after the Sabbath to do that, to keep the rules of man.
Yeah, everybody else did, but he didn't.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, obviously he didn't do it secretly, like on purpose, I don't think, because he threw it in their face before about doing things on the Sabbath because they questioned him about that. Mm-hmm. And they said, like, you're not supposed to do that. And then he brought up things to them about, like, wouldn't you do this and wouldn't you do that and blah, blah, blah on the Sabbath. So it's not like he was secretly doing it. I don't know. I just think, like, you're right. Everybody else waited. But I want to know who they is.
Yeah, see, my version says that evening sundown, right? They brought to him all who were sick. It goes with, and the whole city was gathered together at the door. It's kind of this idea like everybody came, right? But it could very well be that the rest of the disciples were out in the city bringing people to him. Right? So it could be they, could have been the disciples.
They. I'm going backwards here.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back to like 17 through 20, it's, he was telling Simon and Andrew, follow me, James, follow me.
Yeah.
And they went to Capernaum. They went to the synagogue, and they come out of the synagogue. I'm assuming he's talking about the disciples without me looking it up or studying it, right?
Yeah.
When the sun did set, then, I'm assuming the disciples, brought unto him all that were diseased. But they did that a lot, didn't they? Like, they played by the
rules.
The synagogue rules.
But it's funny because it brings about, like, why is this okay and then this we're playing by the rules?
But were they there waiting or did they go find them? I mean, it's almost like there was just like a door and they just like, oh yeah, come on in now. Like, I don't get it.
Again, people at this time, if you're observing the Sabbath the way the tradition said, you're not going anywhere, right? You're hanging out at your house. You're not out and about. You're not in the fields. You're not any place where. So they would have been waiting.
It does say, and all the city was gathered together at the door.
Hmm?
Why?
Why were they?
Yeah, why were they? I mean, if they left the synagogue, right? Mm-hmm. And then they went to Peter's house. Why was all the city waiting at the door?
Yeah.
So what do you think, Andy? Why were they all waiting?
So we've discussed multiple different options, right? I think they were waiting. Part of it is they were waiting until the sundown. They were waiting until the Sabbath was done, and then they were all coming out.
Yeah, but how did they know?
I think probably
all the stories they heard.
Right. I think probably the word had gotten out. People knew who Jesus was.
Every time he said, "Don't tell anybody," they did.
Right, and he was. But we're at the beginning of Mark, so he was a novelty. Also, like people were coming to see what was going to happen. Right.
This guy.
They're coming to see like what's he going to do. And again, it's at the end of the Sabbath, and he was just controversial enough. Just all of these things that made people want to see him. It's kind of like when Jesus asked the people, "What did you go out to the river and see John the Baptist for? Did you saw this or this or this or this?" There's this novelty about, hey, but some of these people, I have to believe some of these people are legit. They've been lepers, they've been whatever for a very long time, and they're like, hey, let's go see.
Waiting for you.
Exactly. So, like some of them were waiting just to give God the glory. They were waiting to be part of God's master plan and part of Jesus' ministry.
I like it.
What
was your last verse say about the devils?
Yeah, so that's the part. That's the other part. Like, so I'm immediately intrigued by the hypocrisy, right, of Jesus. And again, before people start throwing rocks at me and start telling me, what I mean was Jesus, right from the very beginning of his ministry, he's causing controversy because he's really living out, was the Sabbath created for man or was man created for the Sabbath? Right, that whole concept. And so he heals many, but the last verse should be absolutely like mind-blowing to us today, right? We talk about the demonic as if it's some kind of a crazy thing, right? We talk about the demonic as if it's a thing in the past, like we don't know about it, like it's just kind of behind the scenes with ghosts and that kind of stuff, right? But it says that part of the normal routine here, is that the demonic right? Is known by people. The demonic is part of what's going on. So when it says, and he healed many who were sick, various diseases, and cast out many demons. It's like a common occurrence. Like, this is all known. This is something that happened, right? And people were like, okay with, right? But he would not permit the demons to speak because they knew him, right?
Yeah, that's the part that intrigues me.
Yeah, why?
I don't know. They knew him. So was this part of the whole, like, I don't want everybody to know who I am?
Yeah.
Yet. But I'm healing everybody? Like...
Again, it goes to the concept of God wants us to come because we want to, right? Not because we're scared into it. Now, he wants real commitment. And so, again, if can you imagine if the demonic started speaking about Jesus?
Okay, but right before that in the synagogue, he did.
Yeah.
He did let him say it.
Yeah.
In the synagogue.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Well, again, I think that there's the synagogue, which is what man is doing. Jesus went, he made an appearance there, he did something there. But then there's what Jesus was doing, right? I don't think that Jesus wanted people to be attracted to the synagogue. He wanted people to be attracted to him, to the new work, to what was being done through God, right? What was his plan, his purpose here on earth. And again, not letting the demonic interfere with God's plan, right, is super important. The demonic had been sitting in the synagogue for years, probably, at least for a day,
of course,
right, before Jesus dealt with it. Here, part of healing the sick is dealing with the demonic.
Stuck on a totally different thing.
Go for it.
I don't know. Just disappeared. My brain broke in.
This is a hard concept. Wrap your mind around, right?
No, I literally went to something else in here, and then it just disappeared. Come back later.
Probably super important.
Yeah, it probably was. What's up with me today?
I don't know.
Things aren't functioning properly.
Probably
the demonic.
Probably the demonic doesn't want you talking about this.
I know. I tried to pray this morning. My throat wet.
I think it's super important that we understand what were the things at the beginning of the ministry that Jesus did. Heal the sick.
Oh, I was thinking about the Sabbath.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about, like, Jesus and the Sabbath.
Yep.
You know, I thought about it the other day, too. Like, he didn't take a lot of rest. You know, and even we talked about even when he did, like, go out to rest, people hunted him down.
Yeah.
And then he was like, okay. You know, and, like, I've been yelled at for that by people. Like, because I used to have, like, phone off Friday.
Yeah.
Right? Where I was like, yeah, I'm just going to rest. And, like, I'm going to read my Bible. And I'm not going to be, you know, I'm not going to work. I'm not going to do these things.
Yep.
And then it was like, okay, well, then I find out, like, oh, the enemy's just attacking everyone that I would help. Yeah. Because he knows Summer's not going to help them today. And then it was like, it's the same thing. Like, I would go out to rest, and I don't have the ability to, if I'm on a rest day, for me to just ignore someone who's like, I need help with something, or I need to talk about something. I'm just like, yeah, all right. Like, it's not even a question. But then, like, people will be like, you know, you need to take a rest day. It's like, okay, I need to take a rest day until you're the one that needs help. Right? And it's like, okay, well, do I need a rest day? I'm like, yeah, there's a Sabbath and we're supposed to rest, but Jesus said we rest in him. So can't we do that for those moments like he did, where he just went for a little while and was alone with God? Like, why does it need to be a 24-hour period?
Well, again,
as long as we're resting in Jesus.
We tend to take things, literally out of the Bible, which is super appropriate at times, right? And then there are other things that, like, we take it literally, it was literal, and then we have to apply it, right? So when it comes to rest, like, we know that the whole idea of rest is super important to God. In the Old Testament, he disciplined the Israelites for not recognizing the year of Jubilee, not letting the land rest every 7 years, right? And so it is important. The concept's important to him. Jesus took time, right? But again, I think what you're saying is important. Is it quality or is it quantity? Do we need a 24-hour period? Do we shut our phones off and say, God, sorry, you can't do anything with me at this time? Right? I think those things are important. Certainly setting aside time to get in the Word, blocking out all the other stuff, or letting God speak to you. I think that's important. Right? But at the same time, if I'm really working with God, application is going to be important. Right? So what if I'm reading some verses and it really convicts me about how I'm treating people, and at the same time God's going to bring in an opportunity to solidify that by applying it. Like
you tell him come back tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you would be doing, is come back tomorrow.
I don't think so.
Right? And I think, again, there's God waiting because God's waiting to fulfill his purpose and plan, and then there's man's waiting on God. Right? Where we're like, oh, nope, this is the only way that God works, so you have to wait till the stars align so you can get it that way. Right? I think that's the difference. Peter's mother-in-law didn't wait for the Sabbath to be ended before she could be healed. Right?
Well, and, I feel like most people would have just been like, yes, heal me now. And then we're going to be like, oh, I can't serve you, though, till tomorrow. Right?
Exactly.
How many people would have done that?
It's the same thing as we get healed.
Don't forget me after you get your promise.
Yeah, and then we adhere to whatever it is that people tell us to do with that.
Yikes.
Right? Like, oh, you may not be healed. Oh, you got to do this. Oh, you got to do that. Right? It's important for us to adhere to what God has, not for what man has. And I think that's one of the things that Jesus is portraying here. There are moments where he did adhere to what man was doing, right? But then there are times where he just adhered to what his Father was doing, right? But the key to the whole thing is Jesus consistently protected the free will thing, right? I don't want to scare you into believing in me. I don't want to wow you into believing in me. They asked him for signs. He said, no, I'm not going to give you any sign except for
pay attention.
The sign of Jonah. Exactly.
Pay attention is the whole sign in itself.
Which, again, there's a difference between asking God for affirmation that you're on the right track and asking God...
prove yourself.
Yeah, and asking God to prove himself.
Weak.
Right? Type of thing. And the truth of this, we know it doesn't work. Right? If Jesus does exactly what we want him to do, we forget tomorrow. Because everybody in the Old Testament did. Right? It doesn't wow us into an eternity of, loving on Jesus. It wows us into 5 minutes of, oh, Jesus is great, and then we're on to the next thing. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Because it wasn't about him.
Yep.
It was about you.
Exactly. And that's what we find out.
So you would think I read the next section ahead, but I didn't. It's funny how that happens.
Well, that's okay. We know. We'll tell you whether you did or not.
We'll just read it.
All right.
And in the morning, rising up a great while before day, he went out and departed into a solitary place, and there prayed. And Simon and they that were with him followed after him. And when they had found him, they said unto him, all men seek for thee. And he said unto them, let us go into the next towns, that I may preach there also. For therefore came I forth. And he preached in their synagogues throughout all Galilee, and cast out devils.
Huh. So it doesn't say he healed the sick. It says he preached and cast out demons. Seems to be that this whole demonic thing, dealing with the demonic, dealing with the enemy, super important to Jesus. Almost like that's why he came, right? To deal with the enemy.
Demons?
Right.
Yeah, maybe.
But again, we're scared to talk about it in churches. We think that it's hocus pocus if we mention it, right? That it's not real. Oh, you're just this or this or this. Or, oh, it should be on ghost hunters. And Jesus came
then Jesus was a ghost hunter.
To preach and deal with the demonic, right? He came to teach about the kingdom of heaven and deal with the enemy. I'm guessing it's the same concept today.
Yeah. But it's also funny because it starts out with him going into a little Sabbath time.
Yep.
The next day.
Yep.
Wrong day, Jesus, didn't you know?
But why do you think he took his Sabbaths?
Because he was busy.
Because he was
busy.
And
he needed it.
Because what was he dealing with?
Demons.
There you go.
Because he needed alone time with God.
Right? So again, we have this concept. Jesus was fully God, so he didn't need any rest. He didn't need anything.
No, that's why he was fully man.
The Bible tells us he's fully
purpose.
both, right? Yeah, exactly. So we have to look at that and say, like, hey, you know why you need your rest? It's not just so you can be better Christ-like. It's so you can also deal with the enemy.
So your strength.
Right.
I mean, there's spiritual strength, but your physical strength affects that greatly.
Right. So we look at the story of Jesus when he was out in the wilderness and he's tempted, right? We look at that and we say, hey, when did the enemy come to Jesus? On the first day, the second day, the 10th day, the 20th day, the 30th day? Oh, no, he came at the end. He came at the 40th day.
When he's exhausted and
right.
hungry.
When Jesus was completely worn out. God knows that the enemy wants us to be worn out. The enemy would love for us to be doing tons of good things. Yeah, go mow all your neighbor's lawns. Oh, go do all of this. Oh, do this. Go to church. Go do this and this and this. Because the enemy only needs one moment in time for you to fall. They only need you to be weak for a moment. Right? So he'll tire you out do all the good things you want to do. And at just the right moment, I'm going to come to you. I'm going to offer you the world, and you're going to be tired. And I'm going to offer you peace. I'm going to offer you money. I'm going to offer you whatever. And you're going to take it because you're tired.
Yep. That's what we do.
That's exactly right.
Spiritual warfare is exhausting.
It is, but we don't talk about it. And when you do talk about it, you have people thinking you're crazy, kooky, or a cult.
I know.
Right? We're consistently being accused of being in a cult because we believe that there's a real enemy. And we actually believe that God really does what he says he's going to do. He wants to fight the enemy. You can heal all the sick people you want, but the real battle is with the enemy. Because the enemy will just make them more sick. Right? The enemy will just come back. The enemy will do... We need to understand and deal with it. Like, the enemy has come to steal, kill, destroy.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why people forgot or what happened. I mean, obviously it's just many thousands of years of deception from the enemy, but it's just so starkly different.
Well, we went through...
But people, it's so funny because if you look around, people are so spiritual. You know? It's like, it's okay to go do Reiki and like, you know, get your palms read and all that nonsense and go to some medium and ask them about your dead whoever. And that's like totally normal and acceptable. But
not in the church world.
Yeah, but like, you know, you couldn't have a disease because you're plagued by a demon. That's impossible.
Again,
you're not an alcoholic because of a demon.
Right. You're an alcoholic because of your parents. You're an alcoholic because of the stress of life, because you're a victim, because you're all these things. No, you're an alcoholic because we have a demonic influence and a demon of alcohol. And he would love for everybody to be like that.
Yeah, right?
We have the demonic influencing all over because he wants to take our attention from God, put it on something else. Usually it's called self-satisfaction, right? And self-serving, right? We look at things and we're like, I don't need God. I got enough money now. I don't need God. I got this or this or this or this.
I don't know. I think the enemy just uses those people. Like, yeah, he gets them, but I think he uses them to just destroy other people.
Well, that's exactly right.
Because we don't have the discernment to look at someone who's like that and say, that's a demon or that's the enemy. We're like, that person.
Yep. Well, the demonic, that's what Satan does best.
It must be my fault and blah, 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 blah.
Yep, that's exactly right. So he's constantly trying to get us to think lesser of ourselves than God does. Yeah. And to do that, we just need to fall and make mistakes.
Yep. Should we finish the chapter?
I don't even know how long it goes. Yep.
Think?
Yes, let's do it. I don't even know what it says.
How long?
Not a clue.
All right. Well, buckle in, guys.
Here we go.
Finish chapter 1. And there came a leper, beseeching him and kneeling down to him and
Can we
saying,
stop right there? Look at that. Look at the excitement. See, now I'm going to get excited. Right? It is like so.
Never mind.
A couple weeks ago, we talked about our favorite Slim Jim. Right? We talked about our favorite Slim Jim, and we talked about like this whole Slim Jim thing. Well, listen, you and I both know what it's like to be enticed by food. Right? We know what it's like. Man, you put a Rice Krispie treat, right? Tons of peanut butter in it, slathered on the top with a foot of chocolate, right? You put that in front of me, and I'm like, oh, and I just want to kneel down. Whatever it takes, I want it, right? I just get me that thing, right? I need it. When you look here, look at this leper, right? This is a leper. They're not allowed to be with people. They're not allowed to touch people. They're not allowed to be around people. They're not allowed to be near people. I think I said that enough times, right?
They're like cast out to other towns.
Exactly. You're okay. This guy should not be anywhere near Jesus. And wait. They're around people, right? They're around people probably.
Yeah.
If not, it doesn't even matter. They're around the disciples. They're not supposed to be like that, right?
He said he was in synagogues.
But look at what happens, right? What does he do, right? He implores Jesus, right? It is, I just need Jesus, right? Boom, I need Jesus. Don't care about the rules. Don't care about anything. I need Jesus. But what does he do? He kneels.
Trust in him.
Right? How often do we get to a state where we need Jesus so badly, it doesn't matter who's around, doesn't matter what situation it is, doesn't matter any of these things, where we are. What do? We kneel. We kneel. We get to Jesus, we kneel. We recognize who he is. This man recognized Jesus as Lord in just that simple action. But guess what? He didn't even know who he was. Mm-hmm. Didn't know anything about him other than he wanted to be healed. Like what? How often on this Friday night, how desperate are we for that kind of stuff? Right? How desperate are you and I to say, Lord, we want you to move, and we're willing to do whatever it takes. We're gonna bend our knee. We're gonna give up what we want. We're gonna give up all the things that are we gonna give back a little bit to get a lot. Right? Like that's super, super convictional, by the way. And it's super important. Right? Sometimes you have to be willing to give up a little bit. Lordship, that's what lordship is. I'm going to give up something in order to get what I want. Sometimes I think God's up and I'm going like, how badly do you want it? You're just whining about it, Andy. How badly do you want it? Did you change your lifestyle? Were you willing to give up moments? Were you willing to give up things to get what you want? Are you just sitting around going, Lord, give it to me. Can you give it to me now? We really need it now.
Yeah.
God isn't interested in being Santa Claus. He would really like to be Lord.
I think that a lot about like sicknesses that since I can relate, food related illnesses, right? That we end up getting because of the trash that we eat. But then we tell everyone to pray that our disease goes away.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, as you sit and eat a box of donuts, you want me to pray that your diabetes goes away.
Which disease do you want to go?
Right. No, we need, like, and I can say that because that's me.
Yep.
And I didn't dare ask God to heal my guts when I was eating bad. I asked God to heal my gluttony and my lust for food. Yeah. My lust and my desire to run to food instead of him. That's what I wanted him to heal. But no one can say that. Yep. It's just, heal my affliction. Well, why are you afflicted?
Yep.
Maybe it's not your fault, but probably is. Probably is. You know, like, we do stupid stuff. And you can't just be like, well, you know, just fix my problem. Like, fix the real problem. And you can't just be helpless. Like, and take all responsibility off yourself and be like, well, God, now you have to do this. He's just like, really? Do I? How did it go for Job?
Yeah, I think... Oh.
And Job didn't even do anything. And he still was like, what are you doing? Telling me I need to fix this. Like... And Job literally did nothing. So it's like, I don't know. I've been in that place, so I will say it. And I will say it to everyone else. If you made yourself sick, don't go just praying that God will make you unsick. You need to work on it and pray that God does all of that stuff. But, you know, pray that he fixes you before your ailment that got you there. Because you will get worse.
We will.
If he gives you a miracle the first time, you'll be sicker next time.
Yep, but and it goes, I mean, exactly what you're saying, right? It's not just like, hey, heal my diabetes, I'm still going to eat my donuts, right? No, it's you kneel before God and say, I've tried it my way. It's not working.
I'm sorry, I ate a box of donuts.
That's right. I need you to be Lord. I need you to help me with the donuts, right? Again, I can look at people and I can say, I want to quit hurting people. Well, you might not want to say the things you say.
Right.
And you might want to change the way that you act. Right? That's the way it works. But in order to do that, you need a life-changing moment, and that's Jesus. Right? So again, what this guy's representing here is a life-changing moment. His life was really crummy. Right? And so he comes and he throws himself at the feet of the only person who can change his life.
Yeah.
Right?
That was risky too. I mean, who knows what they would have done to him.
He could have been stoned.
They could have killed him. It was, super risky.
But that's how much he needed Jesus. Are we willing to do that? Are we willing to recognize, let ourselves get to a point where our relationships, our works, our finances, or whatever it is, are we willing to say, like, I need you that bad, Jesus? Like, I really, really, really want you that badly.
Yeah.
I want something in my life to change. I want something in my life. Right? This guy wanted healing.
Yeah.
Right? His question, if you continue on, is fantastic.
Yeah. So he said, if thou wilt, thou can make me clean. And Jesus, moved with compassion, put forth his hand and touched him and said unto him, I will, be thou clean. And as soon as he had spoken, immediately the leprosy departed from him and he was cleansed.
What an incredible thing, right? But why?
But if he has COVID, stay 6 feet away.
That's right. Why? Oh, that just got us a warning sign. I don't know why. When you see the warning sign, that's why, right there.
Sorry.
Look at it and say, like, what does he ask of Jesus, right? If you will. It wasn't a, hey, you need to make me clean. Hey, you need to do this for me. Hey, I deserve this. Hey, I'm better than everybody else. He just says, if you will, you can make me clean. Lord, if you are the Lord. If you want to, you can make this happen. It puts all of the pressure on Jesus. Does Jesus want to?
But he believed he actually could. We say that all the time. Oh, God, whatever your will is, please do this, blah, blah. And we don't believe he can do it.
Right. And this
that he wants to do it.
See, there's a difference. I think I fall into this a lot, right? I know God can. Does he want to? And then we tend to judge that worth based on our worthiness if we're not careful. Right? Have I been good enough? Did I do enough good things that you would want to? Because guess what? We've all been that way.
No, it's really just, do you believe enough?
Do you believe, right?
Do you believe, for real? Do you trust him?
But what a great question to Jesus. Does Jesus want you to be healed?
Yeah.
That's the question, right? And we come up with all kinds of philosophies. And, well, he wants you to be healed, but it's not the right time. He wants you to be healed, but not this. He wants. But it's really simple. Does Jesus want you to be healed? The answer is yes, right? Yes, I want you to be healed, right? And then it says, Jesus says, I will, and then he just talks directly to be clean, period. That's the end of the story. Mm-hmm. Like, we make it so complicated, I do in life, things from Jesus, right? But it's really simple. Be clean, and then what happens? And immediately, the leprosy left. No 21-step process for alcohol, no 21-step process for drugs, no 21-step process for sex, no 21% for lying, cheating, gossip. No,
because that's when you do it yourself.
The steps. Do you know what the steps do? The steps bring in human.
Yeah.
Right? I need to help you walk through that. I need to help you walk through this process. It's the same thing. I went around and around with somebody recently about the whole forgiveness thing. Forgiveness is a process. Baloney, it's not a process. It's not a process.
No, you just do it.
Right? God says forgive. Right? Forgive, period.
Was it a process for Jesus?
Well, man, if it was a process for Jesus, we're in deep trouble. Right? Because it means it's the cross and the process of forgiveness. No, it wasn't it's not a process. Forgiveness is it's a decision. God can give you the ability to forgive somebody just like that. He can give you the ability to walk on, walk through, walk with somebody just like this. I've seen it. Right? I've seen people at weddings, at funerals, at all kinds of other places vehemently dislike each other. Mm-hmm. But something happens, and all of a sudden there is a camaraderie. There's something that happens. There's like, all right, and they walk away holding hands and kumbaya, and it's all great. God can do that. He wants to do that. But what we've decided is, no, he doesn't. He'll give me the ability, the process of forgiving. He'll give me the desire somewhere along the line of, no, that's not how he works. And he doesn't halfway clean somebody, right? He does. Somebody is gonna say to me, well, like, listen, put his thumbs on one of the blind man's eyes, and the blind man said he saw trees, and he did it again, and then he saw people. Like, that took 2 times. Now, that's about him and the guy, right? That's not the process. The process for everybody wasn't, see trees and then it's not. God offers immediate stuff. So whoever's listening tonight, whatever you need, I hope you're not, hey God, could you start me in the process of getting out of this? No, God wants you out of it. You're just going to walk it out. It's important. Vehement about
he's
this.
Very passionate.
I am. I can't stand this. Right? We're keeping people in prison. Right? We're telling people in Africa and other places that God's going to walk you through a process of getting food. No, God's going to get you food. Right? It might come through a process of growing food, but if you need food tonight, He's not going to have you plant a seed of beans and say, wait for 40 days. That's not what's going to happen, right? It's important that we understand that God isn't God. If God wants you to work on friendships and relationships, it's not this, hey, I'm going to start feeling a little better tomorrow and a little better the next day and a little better No, it's why you're going to run into the person in the grocery store. You have a chance right there and then to say, I'm done. Let's fix this.
Yeah, I agree entirely. That takes faith, Andy.
Well, now it just turned immediately 180 degrees. Now I'm going to preach to myself. So you should keep reading.
Okay. He straightly charged him, and forthwith sent him away, and saith unto him, See thou say nothing to any man, but go thy way, show thyself to the priest, and offer for thy cleansing those things which Moses commanded for a testimony unto them. But he went out and began to publish it much, and to blaze abroad the matter, insomuch that Jesus could no more openly enter into the city, but was without in desert places, and they came to him from every quarter.
Holy cow, this guy returned the favor by messing with Jesus' ministry. I mean, how crazy. Jesus.
But this is what I said the mother-in-law would do. This is what people do.
Mm-hmm.
They take their healing, and then they just do what they want. Just like the 10 lepers, where 9 of them just went, oh yeah, thanks, adios. And one of them came back and said, thanks.
Yeah.
Like, this is exactly what I've been saying. 90% of people, not Christians.
Yep.
Don't listen.
Yep.
Disobedient.
Do whatever.
Think his leprosy came back?
I don't know, but the question's been asked, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
No, again, people are going to be saying, like, he was just so excited. He had to do this. He blah, blah, blah. He was directly told by Jesus not to do something. And then he did it.
Like, immediately.
Mm-hmm. We're constantly about where God tells us.
But it was a good thing. He spread his testimony.
Yeah, but look at what happened. It affected Jesus' ministry. He could no longer go into the city.
So isn't this what we said last night?
Mm-hmm.
That there's a time for your testimony and there's a time not for your testimony?
Yep, we were talking about that.
That just because God did something in your life doesn't mean you're supposed to tell everybody?
Yeah. And again,
all the time?
Sometimes we tell people, you go to your workplace, since we're already going to get tagged. If you go to your workplace today and say, hey, I survived COVID, you're going to have a problem. Wait, you had COVID while you were here? Wait, you came to work all these days? Wait, you did this, you didn't get immunized, you didn't get this, you didn't get this, you didn't get this, you didn't get this. These things are super important, right? Like, very, very, very important. Are you doing that kind of stuff? So, again, we want Jesus' healing, but we don't want to be obedient to Jesus. Mm-hmm. We take the healing and we do whatever we want, like you just said.
Yep. Chapter 1. Woo!
Look at it. We got passionate at the end.
I don't know how long it was, but it's okay. If you don't like us, turn it off.
Listen to it in parts.
Yeah. What do you think?
Is
that enough for this Friday?
Yeah, because I can't wait till next week.
For these Cub Scouts? Ooh, yes.
Can't wait for the healing of the prayer.
It's going to be good. More healing. More demons.
Why do you think we're talking about more healing, Summer?
I don't know. Maybe there's some healing coming.
Good.
Maybe there's some demons getting cast out soon.
Good. Maybe there's some deliverance happening.
Ooh, always.
There we go. Stay tuned.
Wherever Jesus is, there's healing.
Jesus dealt with preaching the word. Deliverance.
That's right.
Amen.
All right, everybody. We love you. We hope you have a great Friday night with Jesus. And everybody else, we love you. Have a great week.